Alright, welcome back. So before we get to today's game, let's kind of think about probabilities, which we talked about before. If we roll it out twice, how many total outcomes are there? So the first time we roll, there are 6 possible outcomes, right? There's 6 sides. And then if we roll again, we're going to have 6 outcomes, and that's 6 times 6 is 36. Now, if we go 3 times, the first time will be 6. The second time will be 6. And then the third time will also be 6. So 6 cubed. It's going to give us 216 possibilities. Okay, so we're going to play a game where we're going to roll 3 dice. And our value will be based on, if we get a 1, we'll get $1. If we get 2 ones, you get $2. You get all 3 ones, you get 10. If you get anything other than those 3 options, then you get nothing. For example, if we roll a 1, 2, and then a 3, we have 1, so we get $1. Second time we go, if we go 1, let's say 2, and then we roll a 1 again. So it doesn't have to be consecutive. Now we have 2 ones, so we would get $2. If we went 1, 1, and then 1, now we're going to get $10. If we go 3, 4, and then 5, for example. So anything other than 1, we don't get a 1 at all. And we get nothing. But if we go all of the same number, so if we go 4, 4, and then 4 again, now we get $5. Okay, so that's how you score. So pause the video, take about 10 or 15 minutes or so to do the 10 attempts, record what you get, and find the average. So remember, after you are done, let's say I completed all of these 10 rolls, and I only ended up with what I have. So I would get 1, 2, that's 3, 13, 18. I divide that by 10. So on average, I got $1.80. Okay, so you're taking your total and dividing it by 10 to get your average. Okay, so again, take about 10 to 15 minutes. Pause the video, complete the rolls, and find your average. Alright, so now that we got that done, our possible dollar amounts were 0, 1, 2, 5, and 10. Now let's put them in the table and find their probabilities. And let's start with the $10. So to get the $10, we have to get all 1s, right? So the probability of getting the first one is going to be 1 out of 6. The second one is going to be 1 out of 6, and the third one is going to be 1 out of 6. So the probability of getting $10 is 1 over 216. So if we talk about getting $5. Excuse me. That's all of the same number. So if we want all 2s, that's going to be the same as getting all 1s. So 1 out of 16. 216 rather. All 3s would be the same, right? All 4s, 1 out of 216. All 5s, 1 out of 216. And then all 6s, 1 out of 216. So if we add those up, that's going to be 5 out of 216. So then for $2, we gotta get 2 1s. So for the first one, that's the 1 out of 6. The second one, 1 out of 6. And then something other than 1 is going to be 5 out of 6. So this probability is going to be 5 out of 216. But that's assuming that we get something other than 1 on the third row. So what if we go first row 1, second row something other than 1, and third row 1. So now that's still 5 out of 216. And then if we go something other than 1 first, that's still 5 out of 6 rather. And then we go 1 and then 1, that's another 5 out of 16. So for $2, it's going to be 5, 10, 15 out of 16. Okay. So if we go back, so for 10, it was 2. We said 5 out of 216. For the $1, it was, we didn't do the $1. So we'll come back to that. So $5, we said it was 5 out of 216. And that's 15. That's 5 out of 216. And the $10 was 1 out of 216. So for $1, let's think about what we got to do to get $1. So for $1, we only need 1 1. So if the first roll is 1, that's 1 out of 6, and then it's 5 6 and 5 6. Or if the second roll is the 1 out of 6. Or if the third roll is the one where we get the 1. So now we got 25 over 216 3 times. So this ends up being 75 over 216. So the easiest thing to do to find a 0, we know it all has to be 216 over 216. So if we subtract 75 plus 15 is 90, plus 5 is 95, plus 1 is 96. Subtract 216 minus 96, and that gives us 120 over 216. So there are all of our probabilities there in terms of winning the money. So the probability that we did not win any money is the 120 over 216. Probability that we won money is the 96 over 216. So to determine how much money you would expect to win is multiply the probabilities by that amount. And we'll discuss more about this next class. But long way, we'll show you the easy way, but long way would be to do 0 times 120 over 216 plus 1 times 75 over 216 plus 2 times 15 over 216. You see where I'm going with this. So that is how you would find the expected amount. But again, we'll touch on this more next class. Okay. So, biggest thing we need to know. Discrete random variables. These are counting. Something you count. So in a lot of cases you will see the number of. Okay. Whereas the continuous is what you measure. Okay. So discrete, you count. Continuous, you measure. I'll let you read all through that. But there's your difference. Okay. So if we're talking about the length, foot length, that's something we measure. So that's continuous. The number of, so that's going to make it discrete. Tension, that again is something we measure, so that's going to be continuous. Okay, so count, discrete, measure, continuous. All right, so pause the video, finish up the rest of the practice problems, and you are done for today. So we're looking at this, counting the number of heads. The possibilities are no heads, 1, 2, or 3. So probability of getting none is 1 out of 8, 1, 3 out of 8, 2, 3 out of 8, and 3, 1 out of 8. So if we want the probability of getting less than or equal to 2, take the probability that x is 0 plus the probability that x is equal to 1 plus the probability that x is equal to 2. So the probability is going to be 7 out of 8. So again, finish up the practice, 3 practice problems on the next page. Check the answers in Schoology. And I will see you next week. Take care.